Hey there, welcome to the next lesson in my course on creating 5-year financial models in Excel. If you haven't seen the previous videos, you can find links to them in the description below. And if you want to download the Excel files and follow along, you can do so on the first link in the description below. Now let's get back to Excel. In the last video, we prepared this revenue step-up chart that shows us how are we moving from our current 2022 run rate to our two next milestones, the 23 run rate and the 24 run rate. This is a great chart that you can use in any investor presentation. If you found the concept a bit harder, it's hard to get it without building it a few times. So you can probably go ahead and create the same thing for your EBITDA. So just make the same table for EBITDA and relink it. In this video, we'll add a cover tab and it will be a table of contents. So if we head up here to the Menti2 students, there's a table of contents button. And if you press it, select which items you want to be in this table of contents. You're going to hit select none because it would be easier to just select what I want. So on the revenue and margins, the revenue step up, the valuation, the consolidated view, and the core business view. In some circumstances, I might add the individual models, but this case, I don't want to have those. I want this to be on a new sheet, call it table of contents. Top will be the sheet name. And I wanted to add link back to the table of contents in each tab. So go ahead, add table of contents. It looks good. Actually, I want to have the Menti2 acquisition pipeline, corporate, dev, pipeline, solids, and the Rockout acquisition as well. Just update the table of contents and I'm done. I'm just going to change the color to green. If you remember, in the beginning of the course, we talked about keeping a change log, and that's what it might have looked like if you kept it like as we were progressing throughout the course. What I'm doing is just every day that I'm working on the file, I just, even if it's just like finalized corporate model or replicate corporate model to dev, or sometimes like fixed acquisition pipeline to have taxes, something that we forgot. Yeah, that's pretty much what it would look like. And the reason to have that, why it's good to have it, apart from the reasons we already discussed, is that now if I come to my table of contents, and let me just zoom this a bit so it's easier to see. If I come here, I can just like right up here, say equal last update, and I can grab the max from this column here. And it's going to grab the maximum date, but you know, dates are numbers in Excel. So what we need to do is just wrap the max formula in a text formula and provide a format. And my format is going to be year. Actually, I'm going to do day, month, because I don't want to just have the day and the month, because this will be text. And if the person opening the file has a different locale, different regional settings, let's say in Europe, we have the day first, month after that, and in the US, they have the month first. If I just have the number for the day and the month, this will always be formatted that way. It won't change based on your settings. So it's much better to do it like that. Just the day, the month with 3 M's will give a short name for the month, and then the year. So now there's no way to mistake what the date was. And I can keep that here or just put it up here, make it even smaller. Let's say 6. Something like that, or just put it wherever you want. And the last thing I want to do is, because usually when we work, we zoom in, we zoom out, and all our tabs are a different zoom level. When I'm ready to present or ready to send a model, and I'm just noticing that this is not colored in gray. When I'm ready to send this for review or for someone to use, I want everything to just look a bit more professional, more organized. So what I do is I'll just reset the zoom of each tab and bring the active cell to the top left of each tab, and you can do that with this button here. Just want to apply 100% zoom, and I want to apply it across the entire workbook. There you have it. Everything is at 100%, and every tab, the active cell is all the way up and to the left. So if you go to a tab, it doesn't start from where you left it when you were working on it, but it starts at the top, and it's much easier for people to review, read through, and figure out what's happening. We want to have a written explanation of what goes where and exactly how the model is structured. This is not going to be something that goes into painstaking detail, so we're not going to go into each formula and each calculation. But what we want to do is just have a brief overview that mostly highlights all the numerical assumptions. And we're not going to write it live. I have it prepared here, and you can download it from the resources section. But as you can see, it's just like has a list of all the tabs, and it's small explanations. The first tabs obviously have no assumptions in them, so I just have like this tab presents a list of the key tabs across the model with links to them. And then as you go down to tabs that have assumptions, what I usually do is I'll have all numeric assumptions in blue and highlight it in light gray, so that it's much easier to quickly identify where the assumptions are on the page and figure out what are the numeric drivers, the key drivers for the whole model. Once I have that, I'll print it as PDF, and having this table of contents from Word at the top means that those are going to become links. So we can go to different sections. And it usually have this alongside the model every time I send it out. So let's say for internal purposes, I'll probably include the whole thing. For external purposes, based on which tabs I'm showing, I might just leave some of those explanations. But in my experience, even if I'm not showing all the detailed calculation tabs, people appreciate having like a brief overview of what goes where, so they can look through it and identify like key assumptions that they care about and they want to learn more about. And something else that this is really good for is when you need internally to have different stakeholders review the model. In some situations, it's much easier. Let's say we're talking about the new product. It's much easier to just grab this section and share it with someone so they can look through like the key assumptions in a simple view, because when we're building those tabs, we would usually end up discussing a lot with the stakeholders. So let's say the new product team will be heavily involved in how we think about modeling our Minty Tools product launch. But at the end of the day, they're probably not Excel people, and it's usually very beneficial for them to just get this in an email where they can look through it and just say, oh, okay, yeah, the optimistic scenario looks pretty good, it's pretty optimistic, but if we're talking realistically, I know we set it up growing to 125, but let's just say that it grows by 15% each year or something like that. So it gives you a lot of versatility in terms of how you communicate with different stakeholders about the model. I'm going to show you a neat trick that would help you protect your model and keep its integrity, especially if your model sits on a shared drive like OneDrive. It's really easy for someone to open it, play with it, mess something up, and never notice that their autosave is turned on, which it is by default on OneDrive, for example. So what you want to do to protect your model against such a scenario is you go to File, Info, and here where you have Protect Workbook, just check Always Open Read Only. And now your workbook, to prevent accidental changes, will always open as read only. And next time you open the file, it will tell you that the author would like you to open it as read only unless you need to make any changes. And most people will just click yes, open it as read only. And if they make any changes and they try to save, it would tell them that it's read only and they'll need to save it with a new name or in a different location. That's a really tiny detail, but it can save you a lot of trouble if you're planning to expose your model file within your organization. Thank you for watching another part of the course. By the way, if you can spare a minute, I would love to hear your thoughts on the course and whether it's living up to your expectations. If you're watching on the website, you can do so by the feedback button up there. And if you're watching on YouTube, just drop a comment down below. Thank you.